Quarterback Jaden O'Neal is getting ready to make his commitment with us live. A top 100 player in the 2026 class out of Harbor City, California. Let me tell you a little bit more about this prospect before we welcome him on. He is currently the number 6 quarterback in the class, a top 15 player in the talent-rich state of California, and he has narrowed down his finalists to an elite few. We've got Miami, Florida State, Ohio State, Oklahoma, and Washington, and now he is joining us here to make his commitment live. Welcome to the show, Jaden. How you feeling?
Feel good. Feel confident about my decision, and I can't wait to announce it live on television today.
I love it. We can't wait to hear. People in the chat can't wait to hear. But before we get there, we got a couple of questions. First off, who is there with you today that you would like to thank?
First off, I got my mom here with me, right next to me. She's right in front. A little bit camera shy. I got my the rest of my family is like upstairs. I'm in my game room right now. Then I got my guy next to me. I've been playing with him since youth ball, Brooke Muhammad, right here. So kind of a close circle, but it's a great day today, and I'm proud that my family's here with me.
Jaden, part of that close circle is your quarterback coach, Ortiz Jenkins. He played at Arizona. We know that you guys have a really good relationship. What has the journey been like to have Coach Jenkins there by your side?
Man, it's definitely been like a journey. A lot of ups and downs. A lot of denial, from like a lot of people. So he's always stuck by my side, always been there for me ever since I was 10 or 12 years old. So he's definitely, been there. He's definitely poured in like a lot with him and my dad. So it's definitely been a long journey.
I love it. A long journey that has led to this day. Without further ado, Jaden, take it away. Where are you playing your college ball?
For the next 3 to 4 years, after a lot of discussion with my family, I plan to take my talents to the University of Oklahoma. All in, baby. Yeah.
There we go. Breaking news. 2026 quarterback Jaden O'Neal has committed to the Oklahoma Sooners. He is in. Jaden, I said we had some questions for you before. We, of course, have questions now. And the first one is, why Oklahoma?
It was really just like the coaching staff. First time I went up there on my unofficial early spring. When I first went up there, my first unofficial, I kind of got the sense of home. Dealing with Coach Venables, Coach Seth Luttrell, and Coach Jack Lowry. It was definitely, an experience that kind of mesmerized with me. They kind of just set the standard. They kind of broke, my expectations of what home felt like. So that was definitely, the main reason why I picked there.
We love to hear the late reaction there as they were tuning in to hear your decision. Did they know where you were going to college?
A few family members of mine, but since they kind of just heard I, just went, it was kind of like a late reaction.
Now, Jaden, you commit early, right? This is the 2026 class, and you're about a year away if they do institute that early signing period next summer to come off the board and make a decision. How important was it for you to decide early and start building a class around you there to get other players to Norman with you?
Yeah, definitely. It was a lot of big top-notch dominoes in the 26 class, coming down. And, everybody was just kind of asking me, where you headed to? And, being one of those bigger domino pieces, we kind of just have to factor in, after this long award tour, where was the best fit and where was home for me. So, it was very, thought out and definitely a moment to like just kind of soak in because it was a big decision. So right now I'm just kind of talking with like a lot of people out of state and in state as well, at my team because we have a lot of recruits at my school who also have the Oklahoma offer. So I definitely want to start building the class because that's the biggest thing right now.
Jaden, our chat right now is loaded with fans yelling Boomer Sooner. People are very excited that you picked Oklahoma. So speak to the fan base right now. What are they getting in you?
I personally want the Sooner Nation to know you'll be getting like my best version of myself. I'm hardworking in and out of the classroom. I'm a blue collar, person. I love to work hard. And the reason why I kind of picked OU is just because like the coaching staff and the relationship I had, with everybody. Starting with the offensive side and just being like in the building. I felt like it was home. And, having people like Coach Luttrell and Coach Jack Lowry, they're truly genuine. I personally see them, developing me, as a player and as a man. So I just can't wait to get like in the classroom and, potentially be winning championships at the University of Oklahoma.
I love it. Jaden, thank you so much for being here with us today. A huge congratulations. I know how much time and effort goes into this day. We appreciate you letting us share it with you.
Thank y'all for having me on here, truly. Thank you.
Of course, and what a big win for Brent Venables and Oklahoma, adding one of the top arms in the 2026 class. And you heard him say it, this could be just the beginning for this group as he looks to recruit more prospects to Norman. So that is somewhat where we head next in that general vicinity to welcome in our friend Colin Kennedy from Sooners Illustrated. I never know quite where you are. I know it's somewhere in the Norman area, CK, but appreciate you coming on here. What are the Sooners getting in this quarterback, Jaden O'Neal?
Oklahoma's got their guy, right? This is who they wanted in 2026 at a time where quarterback dominoes were falling and falling fast. So this Sooner staff wanted to go out and get its next signal caller, and then Jaden O'Neal couldn't have found a better fit at a better time. And look, our guy Greg Biggins has a great analysis piece as far as who this player is, but a quick fun story. Look, this is one of the best pure throwers of the football in 2026. And when he appeared at OU's football camp, guys, just hilarious to me. Even in the one-on-one settings, when he's throwing incompletions to the receivers, maybe the DB made a play on the ball or wide receiver couldn't bring the ball in. Even in those incompletions, I had folks looking at me going, woof, like the ball placement, the overall arm talent, outstanding. But I think from a macro level, you look at Jaden O'Neal. The big thing for me is Seth Luttrell taking over as the offensive coordinator at Oklahoma. He's an alumni of the football program, played at OU, was actually a fullback, running back type back in the day. And so now he coordinates the offense he was once a part of a few years ago. So bucket list gig, right? But I know, look, he's a great coach. A lot of Oklahoma fans, though, were very curious and asking about what recruiting would look like under Seth Luttrell, because obviously there's Lincoln Riley, but then Jeff Levy, too, who was an outstanding recruiter, helping to land guys like Jackson Arnold, Michael Hawkins, and Kevin Sperry, who was just out at the Elite 11. But for Seth Luttrell to start his tenure with a top 100 player, a top 6 quarterback in the country, and most of all, the ideal fit for what he wants to do offensively, before this program moves into the SEC, getting not only the caliber of talent here, but the ideal fit as well as they move into a new, very challenging conference. Whenever Jackson Arnold leaves the program, and whatever the next few years will look like with him leading the way in the SEC for the Sooners, now that quarterback competition gets even more interesting with a guy like Jaden O'Neal into the fold.
The timing of it is really significant to me, to be able to get one of the top 6 quarterbacks in the country to commit to you this summer, basically 2 years before he's about to kick off his college career, is really important. A majority of the players, you mentioned Kevin Sperry, a majority of them at the Elite 11 finals had already decided in 2023. Oklahoma now has its quarterback. What is next, Colin, when you look on the radar of the Sooners and what they're trying to build?
Yeah, look, the Champ U Barbecue just wrapped up in Norman, Oklahoma, right? One of the biggest annual recruiting events of the summer. This Oklahoma staff does a great job of kind of ending official visit season in the summer on a strong note, and this year's event, no different, really impressive. We're running a special deal right now at Sooners Illustrated, folks, 60% off your new annual 247Sports subscription exclusively for Oklahoma fans. Great time to capitalize on that deal. But Blair, speaking of striking a good deal, how about Miguel Chavis, Oklahoma's defensive ends coach, gets an extension and a raise the Friday of the start of the Champ U Barbecue at a time where he had 3 top 247 4-star edge rushers on campus. That's kind of where I want to start. Let's go to CJ Nixon first, the number 1 ranked player inside the state of Oklahoma, high 4-star talent, top 75 overall prospect. This is a long-time priority for OU for obvious reasons. Freakish athletic profile. You can see it here on your screen. The arm length, the overall movement ability. He's still very raw, a heavy basketball background, but in CJ Nixon, the Sooners see an incredibly high ceiling coming out of his recent official visit. This one just kind of feels like a matter of when, right? Oklahoma, Oklahoma State were the top 2. He takes those official visits, and all the reviews coming out of his time in Norman, very positive in Oklahoma's favor. I still favor the Sooners with my crystal ball pick for C.J. Nixon, and that's the kind of talent you have to try and keep in state. I think Oklahoma's defensive coaches are working diligently to get that done with C.J. Nixon. Another edge rusher I want to highlight, Smith Orogbo, going across the Red River. Let's go all the way to Alief, Texas, where Alief Hastings star Smith Orogbo was also in Norman, Oklahoma at a time where his recruitment has really heated up. So, Blair, he takes an official visit to Texas Tech, and right after that trip with the Red Raiders, they surged to the top of his recruitment. But I do think some of that momentum subsided a little bit, which allowed both Texas and Oklahoma to have their say. Coming out of the weekend, I think Oklahoma's pretty optimistic about where they stand with Smith Orogbo. This is one that they really want, a very raw, natural pass rusher type with all the potential in the world, and plus some scheme versatility as well. This is going to be kind of an interesting battle between Texas Tech, Texas, and then Oklahoma, but I think the Sooners kind of sneakily in good standing with him coming out of that recent official visit. He will likely decide around July 1st, speaking to a source again this morning. Then here's where I want to close. Look, Oklahoma safeties coach Brandon Hall, I've talked about him here on this show a time or two. Incredible recruiter and developer. He's going to work with Amarian Robinson, the safety out in the state of Arkansas. Amarian Robinson actually decided to delay his decision a little bit. It's now going to be around July 6th. He'll make the final call. And look, I think that whether it's Arkansas, Oregon, LSU, but now Oklahoma, he was just in town for the Champion Barbecue as well. And whether it's Brandon Hall going to work on this guy, Todd Bates, J.P. Lossman, one of Oklahoma's secret weapons in that staff room, really diligent, hard recruiter. Amarian Robinson's feeling the love in Norman, and he had a great official visit. OU wants to close out a really strong DB class that Jay Valai and Brandon Hall have put together to this point. Amarian Robinson kind of feels that last outlier out there for OU, and we'll see what kind of ground they can cover, because I think that official visit out there in Norman, Oklahoma for Amarian Robinson, Blair, it was more than productive, to say the least.
A big win for the Sooners by way of four-star quarterback Jaden O'Neal, and a big win for our show, having Colin Kennedy on it. We appreciate you, man. You can check out more of his work at SoonersIllustrated.com. Colin and the crew have you covered on all things Oklahoma. Also, you might have heard it, might not have, because he just seamlessly put it into his analysis, but they are running a 60% off sale for annual VIP memberships. That does end tonight, so make sure you take advantage of that now. We're supposed to say goodbye right now, but I have a quick question because something really interests me. When you were asking about the fact that the early signing period could be moving to the summer, the next cycle, because I've been wondering, Blair, all these 2026 quarterbacks, they seem to be coming off the board early. How much do you think that has an effect on their decision to commit now for 2026?
I think it's been a recruiting pitch from a lot of coaches, because once you start to identify other players in the next class, you have to start moving in on them. We're already heading into the recruiting dead period for the next month. I think a lot of these coaches have realized, okay, this is what our recruiting class is going to look like. These are the commitments that we have. Let's get a head start on the next group. And what better way to get a head start than to get a quarterback who's going to be that building block, that foundation piece of your recruiting class. And I think that's why we're starting to see a lot of them start to fall. When we joke about the dominoes, Jaden O'Neal being a big one for Oklahoma to get that done.